Hi everyone, welcome back to Spirituality is Simple with Alexia Landa. Today we're going to really explore what it means to be ready and how connected that is to spirituality, how connected it is to just simply either you are ready, you're not, you're in the process, time. It's all about time. I do want to say that we will be going over a little bit of the forecast for this weekend as the energy is building up. The energy is very connected to emotion, energy in motion that hasn't really been transformed, transmuted, worked on. So you might feel like there's a lot of triggers or you feel very empowered to take action. Notice what it is that you've been exchanging for the past 2 months. What is it that you've been really working on? What is it that you've been hyper focusing on? Some of you have been hyper focusing on career, others family, others love, romantic love, friendship, setting boundaries, setting your standards, setting goals. What is the energy in motion that you have connected to all of those? What is it that you've been hyper focusing on to fix, to understand, to transform? It's all like a transformation. November is going to be a huge transformation. And part of this weekend, we're really going to sense the overall theme and energy of November. So I want everyone to notice how you're going from caterpillar to butterfly in a beautiful way, in a way where you get to shed a lot. I do want to talk about blame for a little bit though, because I think that when you're going through your caterpillar moment, the easiest thing to do is to blame the external. Blame those friends that didn't love you a certain way, that ex boyfriend that treated you a certain way. And then we have all these boxes of over identifying people with certain ways of doing things, the narcissist, the toxic one, all these things. When in reality, we have to understand it's an over identification depending on what you bring out of the person, what you trigger in the person. Personally, I have an ex boyfriend who, I mean, I've been single for 5 years now, but what I brought out of him wasn't his best version. Why? Because back then, before I truly took the responsibility of being who I want to be, truly took in the responsibility of my highest potential, I was very needy. I wanted him to want me instead of just wanting me to want myself. I'm not saying he had the best intentions, but what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, what empowers you is noticing your side of things, noticing what it is that it gives you, it activates in you. We can't live our whole lives saying, well, because my ex was, he just wanted power, he just wanted control, it was all my fault. No, why did I want that? Why did I want to be around that? Why was I connecting to that vibration? Why was I connecting to that side of things? And then, yes, you go back and you notice, well, because these patterns were very present in my life. I was either used to it or I was at the other extreme. So I had to notice this extreme. Then we go into past lives. Whenever we connect romantically with someone, there's so many past lives. So many past lives you're healing, and it's like you activate the energy from the past together. That's why it's energy in motion. It's recognized. So those are the emotions. So I really invite everyone to not blame yourself, others, no blaming, no trying to point the finger outwards, inwards. No, just really focus on consciousness. Really focus on noticing what was so important about that time of your life. What was so important about, different parts of your life. If your parent was very extremely strict with you, okay, maybe they didn't know how to be strict. But also look at your side. What were you doing? Did they feel out of control because you were really just, putting them in a situation where they it was extreme? Or was it the other side? You were so obedient that then they felt like they had so much control. Okay, well, what is it that you were learning? What is it that they were learning? Because everything is coexisting. I'm not saying no one does anything bad. I'm not being toxic, like positively toxic here. I'm just saying that's not the way to really let go of the past. By noticing everyone's wrongs, we don't go let go of the past. We don't heal. By noticing everything that we gained, everything that we activated, by noticing every side of us, even the sides that we don't love, and giving it a new direction, giving it a truth. Why did I do it? Why was that so important for me? Why did that side of me come out? Maybe it was a past life that came out. I don't understand it. I don't know why. Well, then pay attention to the why. Pay attention to what you were learning, because everything is truly divine. We all are here to learn something. I see everyone trying to think that spirituality is about perfectionism. It's not. Spirituality is about truly the transformation, the reflection, the projection you're giving of who we are on this earth, of God's creation on earth. How are you making that look? Some people make it look, a little more simple, others more complicated, but it's all perfect because it all comes from the divine. And whenever you talk about evilness or just any talk about any type of energy that impacts us in a very negative way, downwards way, a very like heavy way, we have to understand we have potential to be anything. So it's very misused energy. When people ask me about energies they encounter, they go to older houses. I was just in London. You feel like there's a ghost. It's that emotional memory. It's energy that is so big that it's so concentrated. It is so strong. It becomes an egregore. An egregore is just an energy that has some sort of presence. It has some sort of identity. So when you're walking through Earth, you're going to notice there's been so many stories, so many emotional memory, so much of everything happened here that there's some energy that already has some sort of action, but it cannot impact us if we're aware of the emotional memory, if we're aware what energy is ours and what isn't, if we are aware of how to disconnect from that. And the best way to disconnect from that is really not blaming, but detaching. Detaching is such a powerful tool because you understand what you do want and you don't want. So I do invite everyone this weekend to understand that it's not about blaming anyone or feeling like you're anyone's victim. It's about really embracing and embodying what you want. It's not that they're weird. It's not that they are wrong. It's not, no, no. Leave them in their scenario. Leave them in their reality. Let them exist where they are because we're not the know it all either. Let them be. Because the less focus they have, the less power they have to exist. The more you focus on you and the more you give yourself power, that's exactly how you're going to be able to obtain the next steps to know exactly how to get what you want. Because a huge reminder, I know I repeat it so much and I'll repeat it many more times. We always have what we need to get what we want. So if you've been telling yourself a story that you're lacking something, maybe it's just the want you haven't been able to meet because you haven't noticed what's around you. You haven't noticed the strength within you. You haven't sat down and really looked at yourself and said, okay, why are we doing this? Why do we keep this pattern? Okay, I know why, because I already did the healing. I'm so self aware. Okay, now what do we want to exchange it for? Because it's all within us, it's all our power. Today I posted a story. I love this reel. I found this reel where it's like two friends. One of they have like a bunch of band-aids all over. It's like the band-aid keeps the soul intact, or that's how I saw it being. You can go to my stories, it's there. And if it's not there anymore, DM me. I'll send it to you. It's like a reel. but it's band-aids. It's band-aids kind of covering the whole body. And this friend gives another friend the band-aid because they need help. And the friend takes it, and then the friend keeps taking and taking and taking band-aids until the one that's kind and is thinking they have empathy, believing they have empathy, really has no band-aids and can't give any longer. The point here is that we cannot be mistaking empathy for sacrifice. We have to see power in everyone. And usually, the toxic way of thinking we have to be spiritual is thinking we have to save the whole world, instead of understanding that we are setting an example. If you are kind, if you have empathy with boundaries, you don't believe in sacrifice, and you see people with power, you see the person who is not having a good time still powerful. It doesn't mean you're going to push them and say, no, no, you can do it, and have no empathy or compassion. No, it's about, okay, have your moment, but I'm still here believing in you. I don't think you're a lost cause. Why would you be? Why would I think victims have to exist forever? Why do you have to over identify with that? No, don't over identify. Have your moment. Yes, you were maybe a victim of something. Have your moment, but don't over identify with it. Don't make it your identity. Instead, notice what you learned, notice what was given to you, notice what you think was taken away from you, which is really what the other person feels they're lacking, maybe. And of course, there's extremes to this. Activate the tool and keep walking, because you have the power within. You always have what you need to get what you want. So when you stay so long in an emotion and an energy in motion, and you identify with it, you're literally choosing to have that life. You're choosing to stay there. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to go extreme and avoid all kinds of music and just focus on purity, and because I also see the other extreme. This means you get to experience life knowing nothing is yours. Nothing is yours. That happiness that comes by, you choose. You decide what makes you happy, what doesn't. That anger that comes by, you decide. You're choosing that energy. And yes, sometimes it's very unpredictable because it's connecting to an emotional memory from the past or past lives. That's why it's an ever growing situation. You keep expanding, you keep adding consciousness. Okay, why is that making me mad now? Let me live the experience. I'm mad. There's nothing wrong with being mad. Okay, well, what do I want to do with this energy? Why am I mad? Well, maybe because when I was 5, I forgot that someone just took my drink without asking. And right now they did the same. So the emotional memory is right there. Okay, what do I do with it? Well, now this energy, I'm going to transform it into using my voice. When I was 5, I didn't know I could use my voice. Let me help that 5-year-old. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to speak up. I'm not going to repeat the pattern. That's an opportunity. So whatever is going on in life, whatever you've been hyper focusing on, whatever has been the topic of this is what I want to do and get and receive, really notice if it's just an opportunity for you to do things differently. I've had many clients this month really focusing on romantic love, which I love. And the overall theme, they all have like different reasons why they're doing what they're doing. They all have past lives that are like coming in energetically, a past with like different types of people they've connected to. It's all very different. But the overall energy is the readiness. Are you ready? Are you truly ready? If they come up to you, would you be ready? Would you be vulnerable? Would you connect? Would you be you? Or would you still have a wall or defensiveness or whatever has been protecting you for these many years from whatever happened in the past or past lives? Which one? Because that's the exchange. Noticing that our reactions truly create a momentum. And one of the most important things to know when you're ready or not is noticing what scenario you're building in your mind Are you already defending yourself? Are you already acting cool? Or are you just letting things be and be yourself? Because that's when you notice what's stopping you. The moment you stop yourself from being you, the moment you stop yourself from just experiencing. Yes, of course, there's always fear of the unknown, there's always fear of the new. That's normal. But who are you when you're afraid? Personally, I tend to speak a lot. I start talking. I'm like, oh my God, yes. But that's me. That's truly my essence. I can't, like, if I try to control it, then I'll be chill and I'll be cool and collected. And I'm talking about like a crush. But if I'm crushing, I go all for it. I'm like, oh my God, yes. And I just want to connect. I want to flirt. That's natural. But if I'm being protective, overprotected of my energy, and I think a guy is cute, or I'm crushing, I'll act very cool. Why? Because there's control. Why? Because if we have a rule book, as men or women, there's a rule book of everything you've heard of what to do, what not to do, how to do it. That's a problem. That's a true problem. Any rule book. Because your person is going to want you, not the rule book. They've gone through the rule book. They know the rule book. Why? Because other people have used the rule book. And this goes in everything. This goes at work. This goes for career, work, for friendships, for everything. Until you're just yourself and you're just showing up, you'll know what's truly compatible with you and what's not. That's one of the most spiritual things, because when you understand compatibility, you understand your spirit. You understand your fraction of light because you're letting it just be. You're letting it just exist. You're letting it guide you. You're letting yourself, yes, make mistakes sometimes and be like, well, what tool am I activating now? But you're not doing it with control in the way that you're waiting. Right now, the energy for the past 2 months, everyone has been feeling like they're waiting. First of all, it was the caterpillar moment. Second of all, the waiting has to do with the control. It has to come in this way, it has to look this way, it has to feel this way. No. If you want a new career and you're trying to drop everything you know, it's going to feel very extremely unstable. That's not an emotion, that's a feeling. It's going to feel very unstable, but yet there's going to be peace in the feeling because you're letting go whatever you don't want any longer. The energy, that's a choice. What energy are you going to truly connect to? Decide that you want, because that's going to tell your attitude, your mood, everything. But you decide that if you feel lack of stability, unstable, because you're beginning a new career, what energy you want to connect it to? What does lack of stability what do you want it to become? I talked about this in the podcast with Alice, how she said that at a certain point in her life, we talked about how she still wanted almost this survival mode of working. I took her back to, because at this point she's stable. She has a career. She has, she's the best astrologer out there. So at this point in life, she had to go back to her 25-year-old, 24-year-old and let her know, we don't need this mechanism any longer. We don't have to go into survival mode to then bring in money. We don't have to be unstable to believe in ourselves and push ourselves. So the feeling changes over time, and you have to be able to tell how it's changing. You have to sit down and be like, wait, but work is stable. So what do I do with the energy of motivation when being unstable? How can I get motivated now that I am stable? Well, maybe you don't need motivation anymore. Maybe all you need is consistency, the energy of consistency. How are you going to make it fun to be consistent, to be simple, to make it easy? How? You are the creator. You're co-creating with God right now. You can, talk to God and be like, okay, well, I want to create it very simply and easy. Or you can be honest with yourself and be like, I want complicated. It's okay. You choose. You choose what you want. Truly. It's real. It's reality. And there's different levels to this. When I first started, all I had to be able to, all the choices I had was to do it, was to go for it, was to jump off the cliff and be like, okay, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. This is so unknown. Yes, I know I'm a channeler, but I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know exactly what people are going to want from me. I don't know. That's the only choice I had, to not know, the unknown. So I decided. And the energy I chose was consistency and motivation. And the only way to pull in the energy of motivation when you're at your lowest is to start loving yourself. Start doing it for you, no one else. Don't expect anyone to believe in you, to push you, to. No, 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 no. When I started, the first thing my mom told me was, I'm leaving it up to God because only God knows if it's not going to work out. And it's not that they didn't want to believe in me, it's that it was so unknown. There was no structure, no path, that I understand parents. It's like, okay, I want to believe in you, but what's going on? What are you showing me? I don't get it. So I had to take the self-responsibility to understand that it was so unknown. I couldn't expect everyone to believe in me. I couldn't. That would be not, it just can't. So I had to believe in myself. I had to have that self-responsibility. And I didn't take it personal. I understood that it came with a lot of love. My family was truly loving me because what do families want? And more moms and dads, your protection, your safety, your security. That's truly what they want. So you always have to notice the love language that you're receiving. What type of love am I receiving and why? Rather than attacking whatever it is that you're receiving. In that moment, I took the love. I was like, okay, well, they care. So let me take in this energy of care. They care. All of that builds up. How do I care about myself? Well, I believe in myself. I do, because I got no other choice. I went to nursing school. I don't like it. I went to a bunch of things. I've been all over. Bunch of things. And in that moment, I was a barista. I was waking up at 4 a.m. I was a barista and a, what's it called? A waitress at the same time. So I would run in, do the drinks, and then run out and take orders, and then run in, do drinks, and then run out and take orders. And it was, I can say, one of the best experiences of my life because as you're doing something for others, you pay attention to what you want and how you want it and how you like things. And I've worked for many years of my life, not necessarily because I had to. No one told me I had to. I just had this innate. I mean, now I look at my little girl and I'm like, what were you thinking? Like you could have just laid down and watched TV or something, but it's okay. She was having fun. But my inner child was just very like ambitious naturally. It wasn't about the money, it was more about the experience. I just loved being out there in the world. When when I was younger, I my mom always sold clothes in the car. And we would go to like hair salons and just different banks, places, and we would bring down like bags of clothes and we would show it to them. And I was like 5, 6, and I did that for years with her until we opened up the first physical store. And so I always knew how to speak to people. I always knew how to show people what they wanted in a way. They would tell me, no, it's because I want on jeans. And my mom taught me how to notice what type of style goes for everyone and body types and how you make every single body type understand what it fits them in the most beautiful way and how everyone is special. And she just taught me a lot when it came to that. So as a little girl who would channel, I was exposed to so much energy, to so much emotion, energy and motion, that I almost didn't really understand what was mine yet. And that was a whole part of my upbringing. Then, when I was in elementary, my grandmother made the best tortillas you could imagine. The best. And she's my grandmother, but she did. And I remember telling her, "Do you want to sell them?" She was like, "Oh my God, of course." I went knocking around the neighborhood to know who wanted tortillas, and everyone did. We then had people knocking at our door asking for tortillas. Then, when I was in high school, I had a very beautiful opportunity to be able to sell secondhand clothes. I would ask my aunt to give me all the clothes she didn't want, and she was so amazing. She would give me everything she didn't want from my cousins, from her, and every Saturday I would wake up at 5 a.m. and just sell clothes because the my hometown has a lot of people cross from Mexico, and they just love to buy the clothes. And I met a lot of people who I had amazing conversations with. Again, very exposed to just emotion, to energy and motion. And this exposure really showed me what everyone wanted, but I never really noticed what I wanted. Although I was doing what I wanted, I was exposing myself. But then as I got older, it almost wouldn't make sense me asking for something. It was always like I wanted to give. And when I started this journey of really exposing myself, because that's how I felt, just exposure. It was like, I'm gonna be seen. As a channeler, I noticed that in that moment of being a barista and a waitress, that I hadn't really listened to myself ever. Not because people didn't let me, not because, no, I was letting people decide for me. And this weekend, that energy, it's what it reminds me of. Almost like what have people been deciding for you? Are you ready to decide for yourself? And this means even the people who you love and they love you so deeply, they don't even know you gave them the responsibility to decide for you. There's people who love to be around you, and maybe it's okay to say no sometimes. So what responsibilities have you been giving others? How have they been deciding for you because you don't know what you want or you haven't decided for yourself? And this comes in everything, career, everything, everything. Even love, when it comes to dating. Do you truly say everything you want to say? Or do you think it's weird or uncomfortable or I shouldn't say that in the first date? Then maybe that's not them. It's that simple. Spirituality is that simple and easy, truly. So this weekend, this next month, being a transformation, talking and understanding what you're ready for is crucial. What are you ready for, honey? What are you ready for? I wouldn't have been ready to do everything I'm doing today a year ago. I truly wouldn't. And I'm okay with saying that. I'm okay with understanding that a year ago my inner child was going through a lot. Because our inner child is the person you were yesterday. Our inner child is the person it's today whenever tomorrow comes in. So I would love to know, what do you think you're ready for? Are you truly ready to fall in love, or you're just hyper focusing on it because you feel like you're lacking something? Are you really ready to have that self responsibility to understand what wisdom is? Because wisdom, like I say this specifically for those who are hyper focused on spirituality, which it's okay. I've been there. But in a way where you think you're lacking something. If you're here, you know that I say you're not lacking anything. You're just activating a lot, and that's beautiful. But if you think you're lacking something, what if you had it? What would you spend your time doing? What would you spend your time thinking about? What if God looked at you and said, hey, you're perfect? Everything you're learning is meant to be. If you're mean to someone, what are you learning from the other person? What are you learning from yourself? That's all simple. How can you deactivate it and exchange it for something else? What do you exchange it for? Because if you are unhappy in your career, what would the version of you being happy look like? Well, you need to explore. That takes self discovery, that takes experience. So you can't know before you live. And that's where being ready comes in. Are you ready to live the unknown? For those moms who tell me that they want their children to have everything, I love it. I really do, because it's that unconditional love of seeing your child, no matter what age they're in, know that they can have anything and everything and just thrive in life. But I want you to ask yourself, what do you think they're truly ready for? Truly, what are they ready for? Not because you're going to judge them, not because now you have to go into fixing mode and get them doing something. No, no, just because the faith has a lot to do with connecting it to simplicity and truth. Where are they now? What are they waiting for? What are they ready for? Waiting is maybe they don't understand they have to activate something in themselves to receive, to connect, to amplify, to detach. So, what are they ready for? What are you ready for as a mom? What are all of you ready for? Honestly, me, I'm just ready for my sip of coffee that I have next to me right now, actually. But after being in London and Barcelona for the past 3 weeks, I really noticed I'm just ready for structure. That's my top secret. I'm sharing it with all of you. That structure where I get to just, yeah, I just get to wake up, do my skincare routine, walk to get a coffee, go to the gym, chill, work, and repeat. That's what I'm ready for. Because after a year of nonstop traveling, I really activated the tool of inner stability to the point where I can adapt anywhere. I can go to any gym, I can go to anything. But again, I'm ready to want exactly what I envision myself to be doing. Of course, I'm going to keep traveling. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's just that I really am ready for that structure. I think that I have really planted many seeds this year, and all those seeds are ready to be watered by just structure. That's my next tool, just a really good structure, because my divine feminine is so strong when it comes to flowing that my divine masculine, I think, needs to relax a little, because when you flow so much, you then really lack any type of control. So the divine masculine almost has to do double of the work to be able to give and give and give to each scenario rather than relaxing, because you already know what's in front of you. So now that I'll be focusing on balancing my divine feminine and masculine in a more physical way, because internally it's very balanced, more physical way, I want to be able to be in the known when it comes to my habits and my daily routine, so that my divine masculine can relax a little bit. It's been doing so much work. It's been really blessing me in my life. And internally, I'm ready for that unknown. I'm ready to know what that would be. I'm ready to have that self discovery and really connect and really understand it, and being vulnerable to the point of knowing that I've been there last year when, because when I was in Santa Monica, I had such a specific routine, such a specific structure. Yes, I was traveling, but it wasn't the same, that my divine feminine almost felt like it needed to explore, it needed to expand. So I know what that structure looks like in the version of me from last year. So I'm not saying I haven't lived that. I'm just saying it will look extremely different now that I've truly given myself the two options. Now I'm going to meet in the middle and add color to that gray and give it everything of me. And I'm very excited because being ready means you're ready to love everything you have in a new way. So if you're scared to fall in love with yourself first and ask your guides. Ask your guides for synchronicities, ask your guides for direction. Ask God to divinely connect you to the best people out there. God always responds, but sometimes the response is first to cleanse. He'll take everyone who's not supposed to be there away. But that's divine, that's a blessing. So ask. Learn what you want so you can ask. And I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. If you can, really detach from having to be social or having to really be there for people, be there for yourself this weekend. That's the best way to go about it. Connect back to yourself. Notice what you want, what you're ready for, what you're not ready for. That's okay too. And I hope everyone has an amazing week. And I will see you next week. Bye bye.